to your Wednesday morning ritual. My name is Casey. I'm so excited to be with you all today. Um, Welcome. Good morning, Mimi. Hi, Mom. Morning, Mike. Wow, the whole fam's here. Part of it. So good morning, everybody. I'm actually doing something different today. I'm going live on Instagram and Facebook simultaneously. I've never done that before. So if it feels like I'm not talking directly to you at any point this morning, that's probably why. So you'll have to let me know what that's like for you. Good morning, Mike. I'm so grateful for you all for showing up. Those of you that are here live, good morning. Those of you that are going to join for the replay later, thank you so much for taking the time to just connect with yourself and to be with yourself and start the day mindfully. So, really, the purpose behind these morning rituals that I haven't been doing them for a while because I took a break because I was going through a pretty intensive certification program. And so I allowed myself to dedicate to that experience. But now the morning rituals really are all about just community with yourself, communing with yourself in this way. Morning, Jen. Um, there's so many rules people, I find that people perceive, meditation and mindfulness. There's so many rules and you have to do it right. And our society is really obsessed with doing things right anyway. And so what I find in my own life and also with my clients is that people are so obsessed with doing things right that they ultimately just end up not doing any of these practices at all because it can be daunting, it can be intimidating. And so my take on all of it is like, let's throw all the dogma out the window. Let's throw all the rules about what we think meditation should look like. Should is a very interesting word that I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. Let's throw all those rules out the window and create an experience that you actually benefit from and that touches your heart and your mind and your body and changes the way you go about your day. And let's establish that practice first. Let's find something that works and moves you and touches you. And then from that place, then we'll work out the details, right? So that's kind of what I'm here to do with all of you this morning, and I'm here to hold space for that. And every week I kind of just bring what's on my heart, something that I've been learning, something that I've been working through, um, and and that's usually yogic based. And good morning, Jojo. The beautiful thing about yoga is there's like infinite portholes into applications of how to do this work. And for me, it's so funny that I just said, most people don't meditate because they're worried about getting it right. And if they can't get it right, they don't want to do it at all. That exists for me on my side too, because yoga is such a vast body of knowledge that sometimes on my end, I'm like, well, I have to be an expert on every single thing that I want to talk about in order to even bring it forward. And so that's something that I'm kind of working through, that I don't have to know every single detail about this 3,000-year-old ancient gift of spirituality and science. So we're all playing the same game here of just starting with what we know, starting with where we are, and then building upon that. So awesome. So today we're talking a lot about emotions and energy, right? So part of my new certification is that I'm rolling out new modalities. If you are on my newsletter, you might have, or on my Instagram, you've seen me talking about EFT, emotional freedom technique. And these are ways to move energy and emotion through the body. So we're not going to do EFT today, but I will invite you to my class next Wednesday night where we'll do a combination of EFT and yoga, and you'll get to experience that. But I bring that up only to let you know that we're talking a lot in my community these days about energy and emotions and how important it is to feel our feelings, right? Because just long story short is the premise of coaching is that we believe that our thoughts create our results. Our thoughts create our reality. But the nuance behind that is that our thoughts actually create our emotions, and our emotions create the state that we live in. And that state that we live in then generates our action, which creates our results. So, the token phrase is that your thoughts are everything, and that's true. And your emotions are the byproduct of your thoughts, and your emotions are what really drive your actions. So it behooves us to A, understand our emotions, and to B, process them through. So if you want to write a new story, if you find yourself every day living inside of emotions that don't feel good, so if you find yourself every day feeling really guilty, um, feeling really fearful, feeling really worried, maybe feeling really angry, feeling resentful or frustrated, um, what we're here to address today is what it means for you if every day you wake up and feel that way. What will that lead ultimately to your life, right? Because it's all cumulative. um so it's like, what does that create if you're living in those emotions every day? And if we could rather process those emotions through, understand them, and let them work their way through the body instead of holding on to them, could we create space inside of our literal cells to receive instead things like, we move from, and I'll use negative and positive, and I don't really love that, and I don't really mean that. It's more like desirable emotions or sensations, or undesirable emotions or sensations. And in coaching, we're really careful. We don't ever want to move from something negative to something extremely positive. Like, it's hard for the brain and the body to adapt and to maintain change when we try to shoot too far. So really, we try to work our way out of it. And so we make a pit stop from an unwanted emotion or sensation into neutral first. And neutral is almost always acceptance or peace or some sort of derivative of that. And then we can move into emotions like joy and excitement and hope and forward motion and all those things. So what we're here to do today is to kind of understand the sensations that are existing in our body, understand the emotions that we live with every day, see if we can let them go a little bit, see if maybe creating some awareness or some understanding around them might help us to let them go, and then consciously choosing not to go into those emotions again and again and again, so that you can create space in your body and your life to experience something new. So how does this sound for you? If anything comes up for you at any time during the live, you can just put your questions in the chat, or if you have anything that you want to add. I might ask you right now, what would you say are your predominant emotions that you experience every day? What would be like your top 3 emotions that you feel like generally describe your existence right now? And you're welcome to put that in the chat, or you can put that in your journal right now. So I would recommend having something to write with, or being able to jot down notes, because this is something that you want it to stay with you for the rest of the day and the rest of the week into next week, if you can, if you want. And so I recommend taking notes on things that stick out for you, or maybe things that kind of poke you and challenge you a little bit, and take notes of those so that you can come back to this. I find that transformational work, we really have this expectation that we feel like we should just like hear a piece of information and we're like, aha, and then it's changed. But really, it's like it's a practice. All change is a practice. We have to just keep coming back to it again and again and again, keep choosing these new pathways again and again and again. And that doesn't happen automatically. And in fact, whenever we want to do something new, we can almost guarantee that it's going to be harder at the beginning, because that's just how it is usually when we're creating new brain pathways or just pathways within the body. So habit change, behavior change, just know that it usually takes a little bit of more intention and focus at the beginning, but it won't always be like that, right? So one other thing to mention is that, our subconscious mind, basically every morning when we wake up, it just picks up in the morning where we left off last night. And so our lives just become a continuation of one thought and emotion from one day into the next, right? So doing something like this, a morning ritual like this, and pausing that, interrupting that cycle, that pattern, and choosing to go about your day consciously instead, can be really, really powerful. So if it's this morning ritual or something else, whatever it does, I love to practice yoga in the morning because that helps me interrupt that cycle for myself. So I'm really grateful that you're here and that we're having this conversation. And I hope that even by what I've shared already, that you maybe have a chance to start your day a little bit more on purpose instead of maybe so reactionary. So today we're talking about emotional capacity, feeling your feelings. And we're really doing this through the porthole of yogic granthis. Granthis, Granthits. Is that right? No, Granthits. Yeah, granthis. I think I messed that up, but you can see it when I write it down in the post. But these granthis are Granthis. That's what it is. And then it's Grantita Mudra, which has a second T in it, which is why I got confused. But granthis are these energetic knots that get tied inside of us. And there's one at the root chakra, there's one at the heart chakra, and there's one at the third eye chakra. And these knots basically are for our protection. So if you consider the way that the body is formed along the spinal column in yoga, we believe in the chakras, the energy centers along the spinal column or shushumna. And so the idea, the goal is that energy would be able to flow freely along that column, along the shushumna. Your prana would be able to flow uninhibited. But what happens is these knots form at the root, at the heart, and the mind, right? And what they do, and I just notice what happens, because most people think like, oh, knots, like I'm twisted up, I'm somehow wrong, this is wrong, there shouldn't be knots. These knots are actually a beautiful thing because they protect us from things that we're not really ready to feel or experience yet. And so they're protective measures, right? And so I think that's really a beautiful thing, that the body and the heart and the mind will always work to protect us in some way, shape, or form. I think it's really beautiful. But if we don't know it's happening, it can actually work against us, because then these knots, while they protect us, here's the other side of that. While they may be protective, they also prevent us from experiencing all the things that we need to grow and to move forward and to expand and to change. So today, we're not here to force these knots open. That wouldn't be helpful, and that's not the goal. But today, we're here to look at these knots and to say, okay, if these have been protecting me, thank you. I appreciate that. And also, if we started to just gently loosen these knots over time, what might I be capable of? Because on the other side of protection is also the prevention, right? So we protect from feelings that might be harmful or hurtful or things that we might not want to see yet. But by not looking at those things, by not experiencing those things, we're also preventing ourselves from the myriad of lessons and learnings and teachings that are on the other side of those things, right? So the thing that I love about yoga so much, as opposed to the traditional like Judeo-Christian uh, uh, framework, which is very like good, bad, right, wrong, is that in yoga, it's just a spectrum of experience, right? And it's we're not here to be good. We're not here to get it right. We're here to just experience it all, right? But experiencing it all is really an act of bravery in my mind, don't you think? Because really as humans, we really just want to feel the things that we think feel good. We want to experience the things that we love and the things that boost us up, but we really don't want to experience the things that challenge us or cause us pain. In yoga, that's called aversion and attraction. But it takes courage to ask life to say, you know what? I actually want it all. I actually can see that by preventing myself from feeling the pain or the hurt, I'm also preventing myself from expanding my capacity to feel it all. And in my mind, we need people right now with capacity. We don't need people to get it right. We don't need people with all the answers. We need people with capacity to feel the full range of human emotion. We need people who are willing to sit with disappointment and to sit with vulnerability and to sit with challenge and to hold it and to regulate their nervous systems and to be able to consciously come up with solutions and still connect and problem solve and be relatable and show compassion, all whilst feeling the full spectrum of feelings. And then I believe we will be able to truly get somewhere. So here this morning, my friends, we are flexing that muscle, we're training that mechanism, and we're kind of looking under the hood and saying, what's preventing me from being willing to feel it all? So I'll extend this to you. In my coaching business and also in my partnership, in my relationship, I have adopted this specific thought. I know that my success is inevitable in both situations, in my coaching business and in my relationship with my partner. And it's just a matter of when, it's not a matter of if. So I know all of these things are all happening and they're all coming together in real time as we speak. And so for me, as a partner and an entrepreneur, what I have committed to myself is that I am willing to feel any emotion in order to get from point A to point B. I am willing to experience, I'm getting emotional, whatever I need to experience in order to achieve the relationship and the career of my dreams. So, what that means is that I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to look stupid. I'm willing to be embarrassed. I'm willing to get it wrong. I'm willing to take responsibility. I'm willing to do all of these things and experiencing all of these things so that I can also experience the joy and the satisfaction of what it is that I do want. So in your journal, I would like to ask you, what might you be willing to experience right now that you haven't been willing to experience up until this point that might be helpful for you to create a new result? Okay? I'll ask that again for your journal. What might you be willing to experience right now in your life? What could you maybe open yourself up to just a little bit more that traditionally in the past you've said, no, 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 I won't go there? And what might be possible for you if you do that? Like, what would be the benefits? What would you get out of that? So maybe it's stepping out into the unknown and not having the answers. And maybe you haven't been willing to do that. And now maybe you are willing to do that. And maybe your work today is like, if I were to step out into the unknown, what might I get from that? What might be my incentive to do that? What might be waiting for me on the other side? You know, if I were to make myself vulnerable and choose a new path that I've never been down before, what could that look like? Or maybe you're a person that doesn't really speak your truth, right? And so maybe it's, I'm willing to open my mouth and allow my needs to be heard. And I'm willing to experience whatever goes along with that because I know by owning what's really important to me, I will increase my self-confidence. I'll have my own back. I'll show up for myself, and then I'll let the chips fall where they may, and I'll trust myself to know what to do, how to pick them up. Do you see where I'm going with this? So what not, like this today we're specifically focusing on Vishnu Granthi, the knot that's in the heart. So in your heart, and this knot is an emotional knot of grief and sadness. So really in this moment, I might ask you, like, what inner wounds or grief might you be holding on to right now? What inner resentments or maybe old stories of being a victim are you holding on to? What's going on in your heart that you might let go of right now? Any grief or pain that you've been holding on to? What might happen? You don't have to let go today. I'm not here to untie your knots today. I'm here to see if we can take the knots from here to here, right? Just loosen the problem, right? Okay. So feel free to ask me any questions in the chat if you like. But maybe you have a good sense of how this applies to you today. What are you carrying in your heart today? So maybe I'll tell you just a little bit more about the Granthis. So the Granthis, they resemble a knot. The Granthis are a knot, actually, and they're these emotional knots of sadness. Grief is actually an airy emotion of the heart. When you lose someone, life feels empty. And if you don't let go of grief and inner wounds, your energy becomes tied up in knots. So this heart chakra, at the heart chakra, we have Vishnu Granthi. It's the energetic knot of grief, pain, and spiritual limitation. So these aren't blockages, they're protective measures. And so our work is to increase our capacity to handle more and more energy. Once you become strong enough to handle that energy, those knots gradually open and inner healing takes place. Okay? So let's go through a little 10-minute practice with the body and the breath, and just see, we've done this. This is how these morning rituals work. I usually just teach a little bit, and your job is to take notes and kind of grab onto the parts that apply to you and that feel applicable to your life. And then we'll do a short practice. And this is where you can take all the knowledge that you have in your head, just let it fall into the back of your brain. So you're holding that awareness, that consciousness, but it's not in the front of your brain. We're not trying to figure it out in our minds the whole time. And then we kind of shift into the body and we let the breath and the body and these ancient practices take over. We kind of just let them move through us and we see what's left on the other side, okay? So let's go ahead and come to a comfortable seat. And again, I'm sitting on a meditation cushion. You could sit on a block, you can sit on a couch, you can sit on a pad if it feels better to lean against the wall. Again, throw the rules for meditation out the window and just make yourself comfortable so that you can really participate. And then wherever you are, just find the alignment straight through your spine. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Yeah, again, up, back, and down. Once more, up, back, and down. We'll just take a few deep breaths here. Once more. So we'll begin today with Nadi Shodhana breath. This is a breath, it's called alternate nostril breathing. And it's a way to balance the brain and to bring you deeply into your body. So start by taking your peace fingers to your third eye. You'll use your thumb and your fourth finger to close the nostrils, right? Back and forth like this. So all you do is inhale through the left, exhale through the right, inhale through the right, exhale through the left, inhale through the right, left, exhale through the right, so on and so forth. And you'll just use your thumb and your fourth finger to close the opposing nostril. We'll do this for maybe a minute or two. So close the right, inhale through the left, close the left, exhale through the right, inhale through the right, close the right, exhale through the left, inhale through the left, close the left, exhale through the right, inhale through the right, close the right, exhale through the left. Just continue. Long, slow, deep, and full. Allow everything to deepen and soften as you ground into your body, into this experience. Take one more complete breath cycle. And release. Take a full breath in through your nose. Through your mouth, let it go. Amazing. Nadi Shodhana is a beautiful breath practice that I invite you to do at any time when you're feeling out of sorts and you want to ground into your body. Maybe your brain feels like it's all over the place. Truly, truly, just any time we go back and forth between the left and right hemispheres of the body brings such an equalizing quality to our experience. So, Nadi Shodhana, put that one in your back pocket. We're moving on now to our Kriya. It's called Swapna Beva. All right, so this Kriya is to pierce the veil, of illusion, and to slice through whatever story is active in our lives, whatever patterning, whatever conditioning, whatever um, inner wounds and inner grief we've been holding on to that we can't seem to let go of. This Kriya is meant to sort of disrupt that pattern and get in the way and kind of break that up so that you can do something new going forward. So to execute this Kriya, we bring our arms out right in front to a 90-degree angle. Your palms face one another. And all we're going to do, this will move quite quick when we get going, is we'll cross the hands in front of the face. One hand comes closer to your face, your right hand, whichever. Come back and then switch, left hand closer. And then we just go back and forth quite quick. Eyes are wide open, just looking through, piercing through the veil of your hands. Ready, set, we go. Breathe in and out through your nose, long, slow, deep, and full. So pierce through here. And here's the thing where notice your mind, where your mind is active and saying, I'm piercing through this, or I'm piercing through that, or what about this, or what about that? That's not the exercise right now. We already did that. The last part that we did was in the mind. This part is in the energy and the body. So now's not the time to figure it out. Now's the time to surrender to the Kriya and to the breath and to the intention and the movement, and just trust that the ancient yoga will move what needs to be moved on your behalf. Keep going. Feel free to slow this down, whatever you need to make it work for your body. If you need to take a break and shake it out, by all means, take care of yourself. But please know that Kriyas are meant to continue, right? And the more you continue uninterrupted, they take on a life of their own and they start to move you. And then they build and build. So just keep going. Keep going. Slice and dice. Cut through the conditioning. Keep going. Cut through the story. The old pain, the old grief, anything that's holding you back, that's preventing you from expanding and growing. Keep going, my friends. Cut through. Let go. Allow things to loosen. And release, receptivity pose. Palms face up, heart is open, eyes can be open or closed. Just receive. Be available for any downloads, any shifts. Again, you don't have to figure it out in your logical mind. Just be available for the magic. Take a full breath in and a big breath out. All right, my friends. So finally, we'll finish in Grantita Mudra. Granthis, Grantita. That was my confusion. So the mudra itself is so beautiful. We simply interlace our hands, make sure your left thumb is on top, and then all we do is connect the index finger and the thumbs to touch on top. So it's like a literal knot. Do you see that? It's like my fingers form literal knots to symbolize the Granthis. I'm trying to show both cameras to symbolize the Granthis. And this can sit right at your sweetheart. All right, roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Tuck your chin in a little bit more closely towards your chest so that your neck is nice and long. Soften your eyes to close, and we'll simply just be here and breathe together. Hold this mudra. Simply allow it, ask it to begin to loosen, to untie, to unfurl the energetic, protective knots from within. Believe that you are courageous enough, that you're courageous enough, and that you have the capacity and the bandwidth to experience the full range of human emotion. The knowingness that whatever you're preventing yourself from feeling might also hold the key to unlock the code to get wherever it is that you're going. So just ask life, ask your heart, just gently, slowly, over time, to loosen these knots and to increase your capacity for whatever is created in its place. Breathe into your heart cavity. Breathe deeply into your chest. Know that you are safe right here, right now. And that you have what it takes to feel whatever life needs you to feel to move forward and expand. And keep breathing. Perhaps if it feels right, you just lift your sternum up a little more just to expose the organ of your heart even more. Maybe underneath all of this is trust. Trust that by allowing yourself to feel what you have not been willing to feel before, trusting that you have what it takes to move through that. Trusting that you're stronger and more capable than you might give yourself credit for. And trusting that you'll never know unless you allow these knots to loosen and step out. Let's take 3 breaths holding Grantita Mudra and picture the breath going straight into your heart. Take a full breath in. Open mouth, exhale. Again, breathe in, expand, open yourself. Feel the knots loosen. Open mouth. One more time, drink it in, expand, trust yourself. Open mouth, let it go. Release the mudra. Blink your eyes open. Open and close your hands. Roll out through your wrists. Amazing work. Maybe take a few moments to write down in your journal anything that came up for you this morning. Anything that you learned, anything you might have questions about. You can always reach out to me. You can ask your questions in the chat right now. What would your life be like if you could start to loosen these knots and trust yourself that you have what it takes to hold whatever life gives you. Because what we want is about experiencing it all, not just the good stuff, right? So the yogi's journey, the yogi path is about being willing to experience it all, right? There's so much beauty in being willing to take life in just as it is, right? The bravery, the courage, and the capacity. And remember, we need people with capacity right now, with the ability to regulate their nervous system, to hold discomfort, to hold grief, to hold pain, and to show up nonetheless. So, thank you so much for being willing to learn how to do that. I hope that this served you. 3 ways to kind of continue working with this energy or this concept. So next Wednesday, a week from today, we'll also have a morning ritual, but in the evening, I'm teaching my monthly online live yoga class. So the third Wednesday of every month, I teach a live yoga class. It's 90 minutes and it's always themed around yoga and kind of something else so that we can kind of do this type of work. So this upcoming Wednesday, the 21st, we're doing a Feel It to Heal It class. So I'll be combining EFT, emotional freedom technique, which is also known as tapping, which is a great mind-body tool, scientific mind-body tool to process emotion through the body with intention. So it's really, really powerful. And we're going to fuse that with the yoga. So I'm super duper excited for that. So go ahead and sign up for that class. It's next Wednesday. I can send you the link for that. You can just shoot me a little message, or if you're on my Instagram, it's just in my link tree. I think it's on my Facebook somewhere also, but you can just let me know if you can't find it. So that's next Wednesday. And then also I'm this month I'm launching a whole bunch of new modalities. So you can actually buy a 3-pack of tapping sessions, and I'll also be rolling out hypnotherapy and neural energetic encoding. So just really cool things. So the 3-pack you can sign up for one of those, and we can take like a transformative journey using those modalities. So reach out to me if you're interested in that, or one-on-one coaching. And I coach most of my clients for 6 months at a time, and it's not a prescription like a doctor, but I kind of assign them homework or prescriptions every week. And excuse me, these Krias and breathwork and mudra and stuff, these are all things that I assign to my clients to help them usher in or integrate or really hold the transformation that they're creating for themselves. So I've got some limited spots open for one-on-one, and things are really building and cooking. So I'd love for you to get in on this. It's really, really powerful stuff. So I love you. May your day be better because you showed up here. I hope that I've given you some things that will make your life better. And now you take the torch and keep this alive for yourself today and this week. Let me know how it goes for you. Let me know how I can support you. I love you all so much. Happy Wednesday. Namaste.